Okay. Hi, I'm Rick Gressard. It's nice to be able to, well, perhaps for you to see us, and this is Carrie. You've heard both of us already. What we'd like to do today is to do a role play, a couple role plays actually, demonstrating the kinds of things I was talking about with MI. I'm particularly going to be focusing on demonstrating the MI spirit, as well as the basic skills, the OR skills, the open-ended question, affirmations, reflections, and summaries. And we're going to do this in two parts. The first part, I'm going to be doing an interview actually not employing the spirit and the basic techniques of motivation interviewing, and we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to present a role play where I'm going to be integrating those into the role play, and hopefully what this is going to do is provide a contrast for you to see that will show the impact of MI. Now this is all done relatively spontaneously, so whenever I do these things I'm never quite sure how I think what's going to emerge, but that's okay because that mimics the situation that you all might be in when you're doing an SBIRT intervention. This is really more focused on the intervention, and the MI is an approach that you can use during interventions, but actually during the whole SBIRT experience. So the situation is this. I'm going to be working with someone. Carrie's going to role play someone who is in independent living, an older individual who's in independent living, who has been having a lot of falls lately. Her family has confronted her actually a few times about the falls and about the possibility that there might be a drinking issue related to that. Does that sound sort of where you're at?
Yes.
Okay, so we will have done this, before I get started, we will have done an audit, with the audit I will have found that there is an indication of some problematic drinking. And with that, we'll get started. Now, remembering the first interview is an interview where I will not be employing MI techniques. I'm going to try to replicate an interview with a healthcare professional who, again, isn't familiar with MI and would approach this from more of what you might think of as common sense approach. Okay, you ready, Carrie? Okay, so Carrie, we've had a chance to talk a little bit, and I asked you those 10 questions about your drinking, and one of the things that I found after scoring that is there's a pretty strong indication that you might have a drinking problem, and I'd like to see what we could do about that. How are you feeling about that?
I don't really have a problem. I just like to go to happy hour. I mean, this place, and the best way to see people is going to happy hour. I don't see the big deal. I'm tired of my kids ragging on me on this.
Well, I can understand that, but you have been having an increased number of falls, and there's a really good chance that your drinking at the happy hour or other times might be contributing to these falls. So I'd really like to see if you could cut down. I'd like to see you change your drinking.
So you're just like my kids, telling me what to do?
Well, it's for your own good. It's for your own good. Your kids are concerned about you. I'm concerned about you, and I think I'm hearing this not something you want to do, but I think for your own health, it's probably something you have to do.
Well, I think I know what I want for my own health, and I enjoy seeing my friends in the lobby for happy hour, and I don't think it's any big deal.
Well, you can still see your friends, but I think the important thing is that you probably stop drinking, and you go to the happy hour and have a good time with them, but just not get involved in the drinking piece of that. Let them drink, and then you can converse with them and have a good time with them. Well, I can see you're a little resistant, and I think you really need to think very seriously about this. Would you be willing to commit to stop drinking for a while at this point?
I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like you're judging me just like my kids.
Well, I mean, I think it's because we're all concerned about you, and you know your falls are creating problems for yourself. It's again, you're going to probably get hurt by falling, and the drinking is contributing to this. And I think you've got to strongly consider not drinking. This is very, very important. I think you need to listen to your kids. You need to listen to me, and really make some serious changes.
Well, I feel like I'm a grown woman and I can make my own decisions.
You know, but you're getting older, and you're not as steady as you used to be. And one of the things we know about alcohol is that it affects your stability. Neurologically, you're not young anymore, and
I still play
it's
tennis.
time to adjust your.
How do you know I'm not steady?
Because you're falling a lot. I mean, come on, Carrie. You got to acknowledge this. It's becoming a problem.
Well, once in a while, but.
Well, you haven't had any serious bone breakage yet, but a fall where you break your hip could seriously affect your health. And I think it's maybe just a little inconsiderate of you in terms of your kids and your family, all those people that are concerned about you, that you're not willing to make any changes.
Inconsiderate?
Well,
you're
causing problems for a lot of people, not just
yourself. I don't
yourself.
want to sit here anymore and get judged by you. I just don't need this. I get it from my daughter.
It's not judging. I'm a medical professional, and I do this a lot, and I know that in these kind of cases, when they get a person to stop drinking, their health gets better and they don't fall as much. I mean, I think you've got to respect me as a professional, as a medical professional, and it's really important that you make some changes that are going to be better for you.
Can I go now?
Well, you can go now, but again, I want to meet in a couple weeks, and when you come back, I'd like to hear that you made some significant changes in your drinking.
Well, I'll think about it.
Okay, great. I'm happy to hear you're going to think about it. Okay, now I'd like to show a different approach in terms of integrating what the things we've talked about, the SBIRT, the evocative spirit, as well as integrating as much as I can the ORs, the open-ended questions, the affirmations, the reflections, and the summaries. I'm probably not going to be able to, in a relatively short time, show all of that, but I'll do the best I can. So here we take the same situation, we rewind, and this is how it might look from more of an MI point of view. Okay, Carrie, we've had a chance to talk a bit. Had a chance to have you take a little survey. And all of this in response to some of the concerns your kids have about your drinking at this point and how that might relate to the falls you've been experiencing. Tell me, what's your reaction to all of this? How are you feeling about it?
Well, I hate to disappoint my kids.
Yeah. So they're very important in terms of how they're feeling and how they're reacting to you. That's a very important piece for you.
It is. I don't want to disappoint them, and I want to stay in independent living.
Okay.
I don't want to go to assisted living.
So I'm hearing a couple of things that you'd like to have happen. One would be, well, the independent living is very important. You'd like to stay there, but you'd also like to be responsive to your kids as well. I wonder how those might come together for you.
Yeah, both are really important to me,
Mm-hmm.
and so I guess I have to figure out how to spend time with my friends without so much drinking.
Mm-hmm. So I hear that you're looking for some change in this situation, and I view that as real positive. That you're saying you're taking a look at the situation, and saying, maybe I could cut back when I'm drinking with my friends. Is that something you've tried yet, or?
Well, there's a lot focused around the happy hours around here, and
Mm-hmm.
I get lonely in my apartment.
Yeah. So that can be an issue. I mean, it sounds like sometimes you're feeling lonely. The happy hours are a daily kind of occurrence when people get together. So It sounds like you'd like to keep on having that social contact, but somehow find a way where you might not drink quite as much.
Yes,
Mhm.
I don't want to miss the social interaction,
Mhm.
but I'm not really sure how to do that.
Mhm.
It's such a habit.
Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, it's good to, it's going to be good for you to be there, but how do you make that change to cut back? And it sounds like that's still a bit of a mystery for you.
Yeah.
Have you, again, it doesn't sound like you've tried anything yet, but I wonder if we could work on some things where you could try a few different things, like maybe cutting back or only going in with the intention of only having one drink or half a drink or something like that. I mean, how do you react to that?
I think I'd like to try maybe just having one or two drinks, but my kids just say, "Oh, you got to stop," and
Okay.
I don't see that in my life.
Mm-hmm. So complete stopping of drinking doesn't sound like that's an option for you, but it does sound like you'd be willing to cut back, even though perhaps that's not the ideal situation for your kids.
Yeah, because I don't want to. I want to stay in independent living.
Yeah.
And I have taken a few spills.
Yeah.
After a long happy hour, which they happen almost daily
Mm-hmm.
at this facility,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big part of the social scene and interaction and fun.
Yeah, and that's something that's really coming across is the fun part of the happy hour is a very important pattern in your life now. It's just like, boy, if there were just some way to cut back. Would it be okay if I just offered a possibility?
Sure.
I mean, would it be something you'd be willing to try to only limit your drinking to like one drink during the time, during the happy hours, with going in with the intention of just one drink?
Well, I think I could, maybe get a club soda in between,
Mm-hmm.
like have a drink, then have a club soda.
Great idea. Yeah. We're never sure how when we try to make changes, we're never really quite sure how those might work out. But I think the important thing is, it sounds like you're willing to try some different things and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm willing to give that a shot.
Okay. Well, why don't we see how that goes? We can meet again in a couple weeks, and you can report and see how that went. If it doesn't work, then maybe take a look at some other options. If it does work, then that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay, so again, just to kind of sum up, it sounds like you've got a little bit of a dilemma that you'd like to. It's very important for you to socialize with people during the happy hour, but your kids have really been wanting you to cut back and really cut out drinking together. But it sounds like you'd be willing to try to make a change in terms of cutting back and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, well, there's some 2 role plays, and I felt that like they went fairly well. The first one, I felt I might have exaggerated a bit in terms of being pushy, but I think what we did see was that the client, in terms of her response to me being pushy, got resistant, and that's one of the sort of basic tenets of MI, that if you try problem solving for the client, you're going to get resistance back. The second interview I thought went reasonably well. I was very conscious of getting all the oars in there. I think I got them all in, but I think you also saw the difference. I was really sort of more eliciting from the client what some solutions might be. We did move very quickly into talking about change that may not be typical, but I really felt the client was willing and ready to explore some possibilities. And I think we came to something that was mutually agreeable. Carrie, how did you feel?
Well, from the client perspective, in the first one, I immediately felt defensive. I felt judged, and it was like being with my kids again, yelling at me
Mm-hmm.
for, behaving badly. And in the second time, I felt like wow, maybe there might be a way that I could still be social and attend happy hour without drinking too much, and that the counselor took the time to actually maybe find out what's important, and maybe that we could accomplish cutting down without cutting out the social, which is what my kids wanted me to do.
And from my perspective, the important thing is that she's willing to make a change, and that really is the goal of MI. Again, I think things move relatively fast. I found myself giving her a possibility, but you also note that I asked permission to give her a suggestion, and again, that's the respectful approach with MI, and that seemed to work. That seemed to work for the client.
Yeah, I felt heard in the second one and respected.
And that's exactly what we're looking for. So thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.